A lot of times, bad ideas win, and that's because they have superior survival characteristics. Now, this paper on my screen is supposedly about operating systems and the rise of the C language in the 90s, but it's not truly about that. It's about this notion of worse is better. It's about how ideas move from kind of an academically rigorous space to a more open marketplace where there's more people making decisions on it. And then the wrong things get sacrificed. So, what does this say? What are the right things? What's the right way to do shit? Things should be simple. Simplicity is important. And it's more important for something to be simple for the end user to use. It's more important for this video to be easy for you to understand than for it to be easy for me to implement. This is like take number 20, probably. Another one is correctness. Incorrectness is simply not allowed. I am not allowed to read this wrong to you. That would make it hard for you to trust anything. It would destroy the value of the video. And then the last two, we have consistency and completeness. A design is allowed to be slightly less simple and less complete to avoid inconsistency. Consistency is as important as correctness. Now, this could sound kind of weird if you're not used to making software, but you could imagine this with something like how a loot council makes decisions. It's as important that a loot council functions in a consistent, predictable manner as it is that they give people the right items based on what they say are their stated values. If you're in a guild and they say that what they care about is that the guild does as much fucking DPS as possible, it is as important for them to find out which character is going to gain the most from an item as it is to find out which character is going to give the most to the guild in the future. So, for example, you might have a brand new member join and they have a green belt. Should you give them an onslaught girdle? Would that actually be consistent with the idea of having your guild do as much damage into the future as possible? Maybe not. You don't fucking know the guy, all right? But it'd be very easy for somebody to be like, well, you know, I'm the GM, I'm the raid leader, I'm friends with this guy, I totally trust him. He comes in raid 1, you give him the onslaught girdle, you can be like, look, guys, it's simple. I ran the sim, and I saw that he would do the most damage. Also, it's correct. It's correct. Giving the onslaught girdle to the guy with the green makes it so that way we have the highest effect possible from assigning the item. But is it really consistent? Have you been having a stream of brand new fucking players come into your guild and get the onslaught girdle? No. That is fucking stupid. And then finally, we have this completeness. All reasonable expected cases must be covered. Simplicity is not allowed to be overly reduced to make completeness easier, all right? Not allowed to be overly reduced. This kicks back to the implementation being hard. You need to shut the fuck up about making certain things hard on yourself because there's so many more people who are going to interface with it. All of this stuff really easily ties back into how you treat other people, how they treat you, how you see systems in, for example, the government or in the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. And these things get so messed up, and the ideas that are popular with the masses. Here's a way that you could say, this is the wrong way down here. This is the way that most people live their entire fucking lives. It's the way that all the popular fucking ideas in politics exist. What are they saying? It's more important for something to be simple for you to make than simple for other people to use. Simplicity is the most important thing in the whole fucking world. Oh man, this totally reeks of fucking politics, right? People having dumb little slogans and saying things like, oh, the right thing's somewhere in the middle. Like, how many times have you heard that? No, sometimes the right thing is in the middle, dumb motherfucker. But people love saying that. Or, what are other things? People will say that fairness. You'll hear people use the word fair, and they'll use it in all sorts of places. Fair is an F word. It's like saying fuck you. People will basically say that to try to how would I put it? It's like a slave morality thing, being like, you need to give me this because if you don't, then you're mean. Ugh, so many weird stuff like that. Let's go back into this little design critique shit though. It is better for things to be simple than for them to be correct. Yes, politics, all over it. Fucking awesome. Here's another one. Consistency. Consistency can be sacrificed for simplicity in some cases, but it's better to just not give a fuck about those parts of the design than deal with the less common circumstances. You could think this is things like welfare cliffs or people not, like the GM's buddy getting extra loot over people and then them coming up with weird ad hoc reasons. And then finally, this completeness area. Basically, completeness can be sacrificed for any other quality. Now, this might sound like kind of weird, but here's a way you could imagine completeness being very important. You could be some engineer that's trying to design a hammer, like a regular hammer that you use your hands with, a manual hammer. And perhaps you're thinking, well, the right way to use the tool is that somebody should use the striking face of the head of the hammer to hit stuff for whatever reason. And so you design the hammer in a way where if some guy uses the side of the hammer to try to whack something, it might fall apart. And you could be the dumbass sitting in an office somewhere, never using a hammer, and be like, well, why doesn't the tradesman just use the striking face of the hammer? It's smaller, so it can hit in literally any space. It's harder. It's blah, 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 blah. It's got better leverage. Like, they should just use the hammer in this way. And yeah, you know what the reality is tradespeople are very busy, and sometimes they just want to use the tool the fucking wrong way for maybe no reason. And guess what, dumbass? You're the engineer. Figure out that problem. Stop putting it on the end user, you fucking cocksucker. All right? It's important for things to be completely fleshed out. Now, what are other places where I think that this stuff really comes into play? Let's go back to World of Warcraft. Totally RNG based loot systems. I think that they are the wrong way to do things. That is a great example of worse is better. Ooh, it's so hard to get everybody to agree on what's the right way to assign items. So let's fucking use dice. Let's use dice. Let's let classes, players, roles in the raid that we know aren't as important, let's let them roll on the shit too, so that way I don't have to deal with people problems. It's so annoying. Maybe my friends won't agree with me and they'll dislike me. Okay, guys, so instead let's roll. Like, could you imagine that? What if that's the way companies fucking allocated money? Like, you put in all this work, all this risk, you make a company, and then you finally get product market fit, and you start making a lot of money, and then for some reason you're like, all right, guys, now we're gonna fucking put $100 bills on the table. There's like 20 of us that work here, and we're gonna roll the $100 bills off one at a time, and then when all the money's gone, we're all just gonna be like, yeah, whatever. Now, I guess actually that would end up be a very even cut. So pretend that your company's not all that great and you got like, I don't know, $2,000 to allocate. A lot of those people aren't going to get any money. A lot of those people are going to get all the money. Very goofy system, and most likely the founder is not going to be the one getting a lot of money. Now, this kind of shit happens all over the place in World of Warcraft. You'll see it also with people, for example, if someone's loud about a problem, even if the problem is something that really should be addressed, in a lot of guilds, the leadership will just shout that person down, which is extremely frustrating for that individual. And now there's some weird parts about that where like everybody feels like the problems that they bring up are important. It's kind of like a conversational maxim that people only bring up things that matter to them generally. So it's like if somebody brings an issue to you, they do think it's important. But for example, if you're the decision maker, you really gotta cast judgment on what concerns other people have that matter. And maybe a way that you could, instead of doing things the right way, which would be somebody brings up a concern to you that you think is fucking stupid or misses a lot of context, and then you try to describe that to them in a way where they feel respected, but also they don't feel like you are now obligated to perform some certain action unless you think it's the best way. You could instead placate them, or you could tell them that they're right, so that way you avoid a sticky situation with the individual, and then you could defer actually either telling them that you don't agree or defer doing what they want you to do forever, which is a thing that happens in tons and tons of guilds. And then people sit around and they get really untrusting of the people making decisions in the guild, and they get really mad, and then they leave because they're totally scorned by the people who had power in the situation. This stuff also, I believe, it infects like the WoW subreddit, where ideas that exalt the masses are very popular. What a goofy thing. Here's one that this is gonna fucking piss a lot of people off. I love saying this. In the United States, everybody has the opportunity to go to high school. This is actually not a super normal thing globally, by the way, guys. You can go check it up. I don't want to get into it, but everybody gets to go to high school. You have to hire millions of teachers. Okay. You have to hire millions of teachers. There's like 300 million people in the US. Millions of teachers. What's this mean about the ability of the teachers? They're pretty average people. Okay, they're pretty average people. All right. On average, teachers are pretty average people. The best students are being taught by pretty average people. This is bad. This is a bad thing. It sucks. I don't know what the solution is to it, but it sucks. And it's a problem. And people hate this idea because it's like saying teachers are stupid. No, 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 no. Not saying that. Here's another one. What is, other than like farmer, what is like the most popular job for men in the world? Truck driver, operating a vehicle to transport things. Okay, so there are like a billion guys doing that as a fucking job in the world. Not literally, but like hundreds of millions. If you said that truck drivers are average people, people would agree with it. All right, this is true for both things. Police officers are average people. Any job where like you're thinking, if I go to Walmart, I have a 100% chance of running into somebody doing that job. All those jobs are mostly done by average people. Yet this idea fucking upsets the shit out of people when you talk about certain professions. All right, if you talk about teachers, nurses are like really quite educated, but I mean teachers are too. But nurses, like if you said that like they're not like doctors, there's tons of nurses. They literally can't be like doctors. This kind of shit, it's upsetting. It doesn't exalt the masses. I'm not saying I'm special. I was like a fucking programmer at like a pretty good company, like whatever, for example, like a college professor. College professors are at least at research universities, they're extremely impressive people on average. All right, which that's another idea that isn't super popular with people because it's anti-right wing in some ways, but it's just obviously true. And when you talk about World of Warcraft, there's things like this as well, where people will say that the game's solved, it's 20 years old, you don't need to care, use strategies, use world buffs, use consumes, and this really exalts the lazy masses that don't actually play the game, and they come on for like an hour or two a week, and then they try to get in the pug, and the pug doesn't start on time, and they log out, and they just like get a little dopamine hit, kind of reminding themselves of how the game was in the past, and they want to feel good, and players like that, they should feel good, but since they're average people, on average, they have these loser takes that others that are more invested, there's something wrong with them. You'll also see this in the workplace. Like I wasn't a workaholic when I was an engineer, but people talk about how it's like stupid that someone wants to try. Like that's such loser talk. Or people just fucking talking about work-life balance all the time. Like, let me assure you, all the people who made the world the fucking awesome place it is didn't give a fuck about work-life balance. Now, I'm kind of lazy, but I'm not going around saying that people that really changed reality for us, like fucking Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. I fucking say tech people because I'm a tech bro retard. I'm sure there's lots of other people as well. You could say amazing athletes that like inspire people, whatever. Those guys don't give a fuck about work-life balance. It is really, really cringe to make fun of people for wanting to work hard at literally anything. Now, people can put their time into places that don't give them as much utility, and yeah, that's a suboptimal play on their part in some ways. But it's goofy to just exalt being fucking lazy and not caring about things. But it's got great evolutionary advantages because you can go post on Reddit or go talk to almost anyone, and you can tell them about how all the times that they've been lazy, that they've done the wrong thing, that they have the little voice in their head saying that they should change shit, that like, no, that's all wrong, society's wrong, like your self-criticisms are wrong. Just love yourself. Just love yourself. Think that you've never done anything all that bad, and don't grow, don't feel in pain absolutely ever. All the people who tell you that you've ever had a problem, regardless if they're right or wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong. How could they say that to you? This shit drives me fucking crazy. Like a lot of other stuff, because I'm fucking nuts. And if you want to raid with me, you should hit me up in Discord. We have 9 p.m. Eastern Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Fridays, and 2 p.m. Eastern Saturdays. All the groups are really good. The Friday one is ran by, it's one of my friends' guilds. I'm in the run. I raid lead for it. All of them are really high-performing raids, but don't join because of that. Join because you want to make a lot of awesome friends. I don't give a fuck about what your parse is like at all. I just want to be your friend in 5 years. Hit me up in Discord.